Imagine this. She said she wasn't interested. She moved on, or at least that's what she told herself. But for some reason, she still checks your profile. She still lingers on memories. She still feels that pull, even when she tries to ignore it. This isn't by accident. There are powerful reasons why women can't let certain men go, even when logic tells them they should. And today, you're going to find out exactly why. 1. You create emotional imprints. The time can't erase words fade, looks fade, but emotions, they carve themselves into the soul. When a woman feels excitement, wonder, security, challenge, and passion all because of you, she forms a bond in her mind that's almost impossible to break. She might meet other guys, they might say the right things, but they don't make her feel the way you did. It's not about impressing her. It's about imprinting yourself emotionally, creating experiences that live rent-free in her mind forever. Memories of laughing so hard her cheeks hurt, the way you made her feel seen without her needing to explain herself, the electricity of a glance across the room. These emotional blueprints can't be overwritten easily. Even when she tries to walk away, a part of her stays trapped in those feelings you sparked. 2. You embody scarcity, and that changes everything. We are programmed to crave what is rare. When a man doesn't chase, when he doesn't seek approval, when he doesn't need her to validate his worth, he becomes a scarcity in her mind. A man who knows he is valuable doesn't hand his attention out cheaply. And because attention from him is rare, it becomes precious. Other men are like water from a tap, always flowing, always available. You are like a hidden spring in the desert, scarce, valuable, irreplaceable. And when something is rare, it becomes an obsession. Even if she pushes you away, her mind can't help but wonder if she made a mistake. If she lost something, she'll never find again. 3. You are living a story. She secretly wants to join. Most men are stagnant, no direction, no ambition. But you are different. You are a man who is building a life filled with purpose, passion, and adventure. You're writing a story every day that's worth telling. A woman might not consciously realize it at first, but she senses it. She sees the momentum in your life. She feels the gravitational pull of a man who's on a mission. And deep inside, a question starts forming in her mind. Am I missing out on being part of something extraordinary? It's not about impressing her with money or status. It's about the undeniable magnetism of a man who refuses to live an average life. And once she feels that pull, walking away is no longer easy. 4. You master the art of mystery. Men today reveal too much, too soon. They overshare, they overexpose, they destroy all intrigue. But you remain a mystery. You don't explain every move you make. You don't lay your heart bare after one conversation. You reveal yourself slowly, like pages of a novel she can't put down. Every time she thinks she has you figured out, you surprise her. Mystery fuels fascination, and fascination fuels attachment. Even if she tells herself she's moving on, her mind keeps returning to you, searching for the missing pieces of a puzzle she can't solve. And that search keeps you alive in her imagination. 5. You exude subtle power without ever needing to show it. Real power doesn't scream. It whispers. It shows itself in quiet confidence, in unshakable calm, in the way you take control of situations without controlling people. You set boundaries with ease. You make decisions without needing approval. You stand firm when tested. This kind of silent dominance speaks to a woman's primal instincts. It tells her, without words, this man can handle himself, and he can handle life. And once a woman feels that strength, not through arrogance but through presence, it stays with her. Even if she leaves, a part of her will always compare every man after you to the stability and quiet dominance you carried so effortlessly. 6. You give value without losing your value. You're kind, you're thoughtful, you make her feel special, but you never lose yourself in the process. You don't beg for affection. You don't perform for approval. You give your time, energy, and care because you choose to, not because you have to. You never overgive to the point you drain yourself. You keep your dignity, and that balance drives her crazy in the best way. It tells her, he values me, but he values himself first, and that forces her to value you even more. 7. You mirror her soul, but stay true to your own connection is important. But so is individuality. You meet her energy. You vibe with her dreams, her passions, her humor. But you never pretend to be someone you're not. You mirror her at times, but you always bring her back to your authentic self. 8. You grow, and she feels left behind. When you prioritize your growth, when you make self-improvement a daily habit, you create a silent pressure that she can't ignore. You're constantly evolving, becoming more than you were yesterday. You're not the same man she met last month. You're sharper, stronger, smarter, better. You're becoming a force that's hard to catch. And she knows it. As you rise, she feels the gap growing between you. While you're moving forward, she's standing still. She's stuck in the past while you're building an incredible future, brick by brick. Deep down, she realizes that if she doesn't make some changes, if she doesn't catch up, she risks losing any chance of being part of the life you're creating. And that thought, that fear, starts to creep into her mind. It's a quiet, nagging feeling that she can't shake. It becomes a seed of longing, a longing that grows stronger every time she watches you level up. And that longing, it makes it impossible for her to fully let go, to fully move on. Because no matter how far she tries to distance herself, she's still connected to the version of you that she once knew. And as you continue to climb higher, that connection feels harder to sever. You become a constant reminder of the life she could have had if she had only kept up. That makes you unforgettable. She'll keep watching you from afar, wondering if she missed her chance. And that longing will always keep her tethered to you. 9. You set unbreakable emotional boundaries. You're not cold. You're not heartless. But you've learned to protect your emotional well-being. You've set boundaries that are firm and non-negotiable. You know that peace is not something you just find. It's something you create. And that means refusing to let chaos into your life. You don't tolerate manipulation. You don't tolerate drama. You don't tolerate emotional games. You've worked too hard on your peace to let anyone disturb it. You've built emotional walls, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom and strength. You understand that your time, energy, and attention are valuable, and you choose who gets access to them. You protect your peace the way a king protects his castle. You stand guard against anything or anyone who threatens your serenity. And that emotional discipline, that commitment to protect what matters most, commands deep respect. Even if she disagrees with your boundaries, even if she's frustrated by your strength, she knows that you can't be easily shaken. In a world full of men who crumble under pressure, who bend at the slightest hint of drama, you remain unmovable. Your emotional strength becomes a pillar that she can't ignore, and that makes you unforgettable. Because she knows that no matter what, you're not someone who can be swayed or controlled. Your emotional clarity becomes a source of power, one she wishes she could have. 10. You radiate calmness in a world of chaos. In a world where anxiety is the norm, where fear runs rampant, where men are reactive, insecure, and desperate for attention, you walk with peace. You don't react to the noise of the world. You don't get rattled by every little inconvenience. You stay calm, steady, and centered. Where others panic, you pause. Where others lash out in frustration, you breathe deeply. Where the world spins out of control, you remain grounded. You speak with calmness that's almost magnetic. Your words are measured, deliberate, and sure. You move with certainty, every step calculated, every decision made with clarity. Your energy is infectious in the best way possible. You've created a peace within yourself that no one else can disturb. And because you carry that rare, calm energy, women find themselves drawn to you without even knowing why. They feel it the moment they're in your presence. It's like being in the eye of a storm. Everything around you might be chaotic, but in that moment, everything feels right. You become the anchor in a sea of uncertainty. She feels the contrast when she's with you. In a world that's constantly throwing distractions and chaos her way, you're the rare person who offers peace. You're the calm she never knew she needed, but can't live without once she's experienced it. And once she feels that peace, once she feels the grounding presence you bring into her life, no amount of distractions can ever erase the memory of it. It becomes something she will never forget, something she will always crave. In a world full of noise, you become the silence she can't let go of. The final truth. She may try to let you go. She may even convince herself she has. She may tell herself that she's moved on, that she's found peace without you. But deep down, something about you still lingers in her mind, in her heart, and in her soul. And that feeling? It doesn't fade away so easily. No matter how far she runs, no matter how many distractions she finds, a part of her will always come back to the memory of who you are. Because it was never about chasing her. It was never about desperately trying to win her over with flashy gestures or empty promises. It was never about performing for her attention. No, it was always about something much deeper, something far more powerful. It was about who you became. You became a man who wasn't afraid of growth, a man who understood his own value, a man who didn't need anyone to validate his worth. You weren't trying to impress her. You were simply showing up as the best version of yourself, unapologetically. And that strength, that commitment to being yourself, that's what stood out to her. You became a man of value, not just in your career, but in your relationships, in your integrity, and in the way you carry yourself. You didn't need external approval. You didn't need her to complete you. You found fulfillment within yourself. And when a woman sees a man who is content with who he is, without needing anyone else to define his worth, she can't help but be drawn to that. You became a man of strength, not the kind of strength that comes from muscles or dominating others, but the strength of character, the strength that comes from handling adversity with grace, the strength that keeps you grounded even when life tries to shake you. You learned how to protect your peace. You learned how to navigate life's challenges without crumbling under pressure. You became the kind of man who doesn't just survive, but thrives. You became a man of mystery. You didn't spill all your secrets in one conversation. You didn't give away every part of yourself on a silver platter. Instead, you kept her guessing, not in a manipulative way, but in a way that made her want to learn more, to peel back the layers of who you truly are. You remained elusive, not because you wanted to play games, but because you understood the value of letting her uncover the depths of your character at her own pace. You didn't need to explain every thought, every emotion. Your actions spoke louder than words ever could. You became a man of peace. In a world that's filled with chaos, anxiety, and constant noise, you were the calm. You weren't chasing after every fleeting trend, every fleeting person. You knew who you were and what you wanted, and that unshakable peace radiated out of you, drawing her in like a magnet. You weren't looking for someone to complete you because you were already whole. You didn't need to beg for affection. You didn't need to chase her approval. You just lived your life in peace and power, knowing that whatever was meant for you would come when the time was right. You became a man who doesn't just blend in with the crowd. You became the kind of man who stands tall, who commands respect, and who inspires admiration, not through force, but through authenticity. And because of this, you are now the man she will quietly measure every other man against. She might not admit it, but subconsciously, she compares everyone else to the man you became. And most fall short. Why? Because no one else exudes the same quiet power, the same steady strength, the same undeniable value. And even when she tries to move on, she will always wonder if she made the right choice. She'll wonder if she walked away from something rare, something real. Because when you live with purpose, when you wake up every day with a mission and a reason to get out of bed, when your life has direction, passion, and meaning, She can't help but admire that. She can't help but feel that pull. When you move with certainty, when you make decisions confidently, when you don't second-guess yourself, when you walk through life with the knowledge that you are on the right path, it becomes contagious. She sees that in you, and she feels it in herself. Your certainty inspires confidence in her. When you love yourself first, when you don't rely on anyone else to validate your existence, when you don't place your worth in someone else's hands, when you understand that you are enough, just as you are, you become a force that no woman can easily forget, because the love you have for yourself will reflect outward, and she will see it and feel it and want to be a part of that love. And here's the real truth. You become unforgettable. Not just to her, but to everyone. When you live this way, when you become the man who is true to himself, who doesn't seek validation, who has purpose, strength, and peace, you are remembered. And even if she tries to move on, even if she convinces herself she's found someone else, she'll always wonder what it would have been like if she had stayed with you. She'll remember you, not for what you said, but for who you were. You don't have to chase. You don't have to prove yourself. You just have to be. And that alone makes you unforgettable. Because when you live with purpose, when you move with certainty, when you love yourself first, you don't just attract the right people. You become a magnet for greatness. And that's why she can't let you go. Not really. Not ever. See you on the next video.